The pandemic is dealing a sickening blow to Hollywood. Theaters in key U.S. cities such as New York and Los Angeles remain shut.
With COVID, if the U.S. box office doesn't recover, the Chinese box office could overtake it this year.
China, the second largest movie market, is seeing a surge in ticket sales since movie theaters started reopening in July.
COVID has now made China even more important to Hollywood.
Chris Fenton, the former president of motion pictures for China-based DMG Entertainment, says even before the pandemic, Hollywood has been working hard for years to get into the Chinese market.
Hollywood said, you know what, we need to at least think about sensitive topics when it comes to China, for instance, Tiananmen Square or Taiwan or Tibet. So that at least has been a premeditated censorship by Hollywood starting in 1997. But the CCP's encroachment on fully operating inside the creative guidelines of what Hollywood does day to day has gotten more and more extensive over time.
But even with careful crafting of films, doing business in China has its perils.
She's both beautiful and strong.
Disney had high hopes for its movie Mulan. When Hollywood has been criticized for years for casting white actors to play Asian roles, Mulan has a predominantly Chinese cast, including actors Jet Li and Donnie Yen.
We wanted to make sure we had a full, 100% Chinese cast, particularly because we've seen the backlash of films that have not followed that protocol.
The movie's release was delayed because of the pandemic. Now that the film is finally being streamed in the U.S. and released in Chinese theaters, there is controversy as viewers noticed some of the movie was filmed in Xinjiang, with credits thanking government entities there, where China is accused of human rights violations with mass detentions of the Muslim Uyghurs.
I think the issue is that we don't have visibility into why Xinjiang was chosen, and no one is willing to talk about it.
This comes after the Chinese-American actress who plays Mulan supported the Hong Kong police on social media last year during the mass demonstrations in Hong Kong against China's increasing control.
I think she is Mulan in the modern times.
From Thailand and South Korea to the U.S. and on social media, people have been calling for a boycott of Mulan. Disney has not responded for a request for a comment. Disney's troubles come at a time of political tensions between the U.S. and China. The New York Times reports the Trump administration is considering a ban on cotton products from Xinjiang. A Chinese spokesman says the U.S. is using human rights as an excuse to destabilize Xinjiang.
Xinjiang-related matters are not about rights, ethnicity, or religion, but about countering violence, terrorism, and separatism. The U.S. has no right or qualification to interfere.
In the midst of the Mulan backlash, Reuters reports Chinese authorities have told media outlets in China not to cover the release of Mulan in China. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News, Los Angeles.